So, first of all, like I said, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon and for taking the time out of your day to hear a little bit about DIY marketing, Klaviyo, Omni Lightning, and the Run Free Project and how it all works together. I'm joined by Kody Fitzjerrells, president and founder over at Omni Digital Group. Thank you for being here today, Kody. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm excited to bring this to retailers. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So today we're going to talk about why marketing automation with a tool like Klaviyo is absolutely necessary in the modern retail landscape, why that necessity is the case today. And then we're going to highlight a couple of common blind spots and how to cover them as you move forward in your DIY marketing journey. We're also going to peel out a little time to talk about Klaviyo as a marketing automation tool if you haven't taken the plunge or made a decision on what you want to use. But with all that said, I do want to kind of level set a few things. First, the Run Free Project is not a marketing agency, nor do we provide any marketing services. We just provide the platform of tools that marketers use to maximize the reach of your brand. So you can think of it like we're the hammer to the marketing agency as the carpenter. And we talk about marketing all the time because it is a pivotal activity you must undertake for success. And we want you to be successful because when you're successful, we're successful. Simple as. Last thing, I know we talk about Klaviyo a lot. And the reason is that the feedback that we've gotten from all our retailers indicates they believe Klaviyo's the easiest, powerful marketing automation platform to use if you're doing your own marketing. And we agree, it's great for that. But if you're working with an agency that uses something different than Klaviyo, like Marketo or Blue Shift or HubSpot or something else, that's totally cool. When you're in the hands of professionals, you can trust that their choice in platform is going to be the best one for your situation. We just want to give those of you who are rolling your own marketing automation some key info so you can maximize the impact of all that work. Okay, with that out of the way, let's dig in. The first thing I'm going to cover is why this is all necessary in the first place. There are two primary jobs of a marketing person for a running store marketer, run specialty. Anyway, I won't try to come up with a name right now. First is to expose people to your brand. And the second is to drive engagement from folks who already know you. Digital commerce is so misunderstood in run specialty. And I want to take a couple of minutes to provide a good backdrop for us here before we dig into the details of what you see on your screen. Now, according to Google, 97% of all consumers learn about your existence online. So you're going to want to present the best version of your brand identity there, since that's where people's first impressions are made. Once they land on your website, they look around and they ask themselves, does this store's identity align with mine? Not out loud. They do it subconsciously, I guess most of the time. Assuming that it does on first glance, the very next place that they go is your e-commerce store to check to see what you carry and what you have in stock. If they see something that calls to them, most will put their phone away and head into your store to buy the item and soak in the intangibles that make your brand the gem of the community that we all know it is. Now, I know that sounds weird coming from a guy who makes a living off e-commerce platforms, but facts are facts. The majority of brand new faces will come to your physical store to make a purchase. However, when they buy again, almost 3/4 of those purchases are going to be online. So your website and e-commerce store and your digital presence, generally speaking, are important not only because they give the first touch prospect a feeling for who you are and a real-time picture of what they can expect when they walk in the front door, but also because those assets provide a convenient place for those customers to engage with you, to figure out what you've got going on, to make follow-up purchases once they've visited, and so on, which most do as long as you make it easy. So what does all this mean? It means that the most effective way to market to customers depends entirely on where they are in the process of getting familiar with your brand. Let's look at it like a funnel. At the top, you have your first touch prospects. These are the people who Google running store near me and go to your site for the very first time. A little further down the funnel, you have your customers. These are basically the folks who came in, met the staff, pet the shop dog, experienced your hands-on fitting process, and bought a pair of shoes. They may shop with you again. They have great things to say about you to their neighbors. They may not shop with you. It all depends on what motivates them in the moment that they decide that they have a shopping need. And at the bottom, you have your community. These are the people who, in aggregate, make up the personality of your brand. They're your lifeblood. They come into the store to hang out on Saturdays. They are at all your races and events, and they shop with you before anyone else out there out of pure and sheer loyalty and love. And to the left, you can see the most common marketing techniques used to connect with each group. Obviously, the idea is to try and get as many people down to that community level as possible. But we all know that the reality is that there's going to be a distribution across each of those three layers at any given moment in time. Now, you can think of the marketing aspect of that connection as two separate strategies: expose and engage. In expose, you're trying to get someone from out in the world to find you and be called to learn more about you. Expose is where things like search engine optimization and your Google business profile take center stage. With engage, you're using different tools and techniques. With this strategy, the goal is to entice people who already know you exist to engage with your brand and make another purchase or show up at your event or attend a class. They're fundamentally different strategies, and both are pivotal to online success. But when we talk about Klaviyo and marketing automation, we're working with the engage strategy. Marketing automation isn't something that you'd typically use to expose your brand to people for the very first time. And frankly, oftentimes neither is social media, which feels a little weird for some folks to see. Now, obviously, there are outliers in every circumstance, but generally speaking, marketing automation through things like email and SMS, or activity within your app, or visitors to your Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc. pages, most of those folks find you because they already know you're there. That's the engage stage. And of course, Run Free plugs into Klaviyo, so it can automatically trigger emails and texts based on a shopper's online activity. So what's the problem? Let's not call it a problem. Let's call it a common missing puzzle piece that we're going to point out today and provide a solution for. Let me lay it out visually. I'm a visual learner. So you've got your funnel from the last slide over here on the left, and you are maximizing your engage strategy with automation through Klaviyo. Nice job. That automation is triggered by a connection to your Run Free platform. Run Free sends Klaviyo a product feed so you can suggest products in your engagements, and it lets Klaviyo know when a shopper does stuff on your website or e-commerce store. Run Free also connects with your point of sale system to make sure you're showing what you're showing online, excuse me, is your real-time inventory. It automates orders into the POS too, make sure gift cards can be used and purchased by customers, whether they're in store or online. You get the picture. So job well done. We're finished here, right? Not quite. What's missing here is a connection between your point of sale system and Klaviyo. That's where Omni Lightning comes in. It's a connector that makes sure the stuff that's happening in your POS is sent to Klaviyo so you can automate engagement based on that too. For example, if somebody comes into your store and makes a purchase for the very first time, when they're checking out, they give you their email address, and you're going to want to be sure that you send them an email in a day or two, thanking them for shopping and showing them all the cool stuff that you have going on in the next month. The problem is, without that connection between the POS and Klaviyo, Klaviyo is not going to know that a person made a purchase in your store, and it won't be triggered to send that email to them, letting them know what's going on. Now, Run Free's got that covered from an online perspective. You don't have to worry about that. It'll work there, but you need Omni Lightning for the stuff that happens in your brick and mortar store to trigger activities in Klaviyo and your marketing automation stuff. So now that I've set the stage and probably talked too long already, I'm going to hand it over to Kody, who's going to talk a little bit about some of the details and value that all this stuff brings. Take it away, Kody.
Awesome. Yeah, so very happy to be here again, Rob. Appreciate this. Just to kind of set the stage with us. So we have been using Klaviyo as a tool inside of our agency for the better part of about 3 to 4 years. So really just familiar with the platform. Terrific platform, very easy to use. And to really Rob's point, we just saw an opportunity a couple of years ago to connect and really give that full picture of things. Because if e-com is half of the equation, in-store is the other half, you now just have a full picture with all of your data online and in store to be able to send any sort of automation, segment data, which we'll talk about in a minute. Basically segmenting based on anything you have in your point of sale system, whether it's the brand, the SKU, frequency of purchase, so many different things that before and with your business, really no matter how long you've ever been open, unless you've had a technology that integrates your email or texting platform with your in-store point of sale system, you just never have been able to do before. And that's where I get excited talking to retailers, is because it brings opportunities that you've just never had the opportunity to drive revenue for your business before. And then the final thing I'll say to kind of set the stage is I always encourage people to think about it like this. We're very data bullish at Omni, but the 4 most valuable things for your business is obviously your people, your inventory, and your building. And I would argue that the 4th one is your data. And most retailers, and then in the run specialty space included, they don't fully know how to leverage that data. So that's what Omni Lightning helps you do. It allows you to maximize the lifetime value of your data that you already have sitting in your Wix, your Lightspeed, your Shopify, your Heartland, etc. Point of sale system to just grow your business. So yeah, you can go to the next slide, Robbie. I'm very excited to chat through Klaviyo more. So how does it all work together? Rob basically just alluded a lot to this, but the Run Free side enables you to leverage the features on Klaviyo. Without Run Free that you can't. That product feed is huge, and just I'm a big examples guy, so I'll just constantly bring up examples to give people that real world application. Let's say that you want to send an automated email if somebody bought the Brooks Ghost in the past, or just any Brooks product. You can pull in your product feed, the exact links, the pictures, the descriptions, the pricing, all of that from the Run Free site, put that in your email. Omni Lightning then helps you segment the in-store. Let's just roll with Rick's data of everybody that bought Brooks. Let's say that that's 1,800 people, and you can send the email. You got the design with the help of Run Free. You have the connection with Omni Lightning to pull the people that bought that product. And let's say you want to send it to somebody that hasn't bought in 6 months. You don't want to bug the person that just bought a week ago. That would be one final filter, which we'll talk about in a second, to drive that. So Run Free plays a huge part in that. Klaviyo itself is a full service email and SMS platform, and it just has incredible features. But the thing I will say is it's very feature rich, and so many softwares that are feature rich are sometimes confusing to use, but they make it really, really simple, and truly simple. It's not just a pitch from them or even from us. It's a really good platform. And then Omni Lightning, Rob said at the slide before, it ties everything together, giving that full picture of the point of sale data. And the segmenting can be, again, anything you're storing in your point of sale system, we can segment by. If you want to segment by a category, somebody bought apparel, accessories, shoes, socks, whatever it is, you can slice and dice that data to send them a targeted email. And again, just another example, it also allows you to send more emails and not bombard the same people. Because one of the things I hear all the time is, well, we only send, X amount of emails per month because we don't want to bombard people. And I totally get that. But now, if you wanted to send 10 emails a month and segment 10 different audiences that you're sending an email to everybody, maybe they're getting 2 to 3 in those 10, but you segment it enough so that it's contextual to the person seeing it and relevant to them. So they're more likely to purchase, but they also are not going to get bugged, if you will. So everything works together, and we'll dive into that more here in just a second. You can go to the next one, Rob. Thank you, sir. So this slide is data we did on about 30 of our clients, and having access to their point of sale systems. We can see one of the things I'm very bullish on as far as a campaign style. So it'd just be an email you'd send or a flow, Klaviyo calls it, which we'll talk about, is think about your store right now. If you're a store owner, what percentage of your customers have only bought one time all time? And do you know that data point? This is data across 30 of our clients, over 1 million total customers in their point of sale systems. And I think it was 50, yeah, this particular data point, 55%. This is one customer in particular, actually, but 55% of their customers. So it was about it was 18,000 total customers, so a little over 10,000 had bought only one time ever in their company's existence. So that opportunity to move people to that second, third, and fourth purchase, and to Rob's point before, that engage period after they found you and made that initial purchase, how do you keep them loyal and how do you keep them coming back? Well, I would argue that you got to have a strategy, obviously, which Klaviyo can be an answer to that. But you also have to keep the product relevant and the emails and texts relevant to the person so that they actually take action. And that comes through the segmentation, which Klaviyo does extremely well with both your online data and your in-store data. And as you can see here, I guess the final point I'd make on this slide is just the percentage of customers at that 3+% isn't even a third total. So there's just so much opportunity to get people from 1 and 2 purchases into that 3, 4, 5. And if you think about it, take the data for this customer's business. If it wouldn't happen, but in theory, if you could get every single one of those people that have bought one time to just come in a second time within a 12-month period, and you got no new customers, 0, your business would probably double because of the history of your business. That's so many people. It's not just a year picture. It could be a 5, 10, 15-year period. So think about the revenue generation that if you just got those people that purchased one time through email and texting to come back in a second on your average sale for this particular customer is $141, be a lot of revenue to your business. So just kind of wanted to set the stage with that's what SMS and email can do really well is increase that lifetime value, because it's also a very cheap medium to do that, where social and search it's expensive, where email and texting is very inexpensive. So you can go to the next one, Rob. So really the solution, 2 things overall, you can go to that next one, is he's getting the drag, is when it comes to Run Free and Klaviyo, it's kind of like we've alluded to, that integration of the product solution, having the links, it makes just the email design very clean, very easy. People can click directly on it, takes them to the product on your Run Free site. And that I just absolutely love about Run Free for our clients that have it, is it makes, our internal team, their lives a lot easier, and the emails just look really good. But also the consumer, they go directly to the product that they're after. So if you can save clicks and you can save that time of, 1 or 2 screens, it makes a big deal. The second piece is just as big as the first, is the automation that can happen because of that when you tie all that together. So let's just again run through an example. So let's say you have the typical abandoned cart. You can do those automations, the browse abandonment. If somebody just goes to your site, they don't even click on anything, like a product in particular, you can send them an automated email or text. But even other automations, for example, a win back as Klaviyo calls it, where somebody has made a purchase and then at some period in time you send them another email. You can make it specific to what they bought. Again, pulling in that product feed from Run Free, you could make an automation, a flow, and we'll talk about that on the next slide that Klaviyo talks about. But I would imagine for you store owners on here that your top 5 brands probably represent 70, 80, 90% of your revenue. So you could simply set up an automated win back with Klaviyo, tying in both your online purchasers and your in-store purchasers with that help of the Omni Lightning component, and just set it up for Brooks and Asics and Saucony and Ultra and Hoka and On and all those brands. And it would pull that product in from Run Free and all just be automated with, so it's relevant to what they bought in the past. So very, very good. And then those, you don't even have to, you set it up once and set it and forget it. Because Run Free is constantly updating the new shoes on there. So the design and the relevancy to the consumer is going to be really relevant with the product. And then the segmenting in audiences. I mean, I geek out over this because I just think it's so powerful. If you've never seen it before, is that ability. Like I was talking with a newer client yesterday, and they love this idea of setting up an automation for everybody that spent $1,000 plus lifetime inside their store to really reward those VIP people. You can do that. You can set it up based on the dollar amount, the segmentation. You can do it based on the brand, the SKU, the category, the time of purchase, the frequency of purchase. So many different data points. And what I love, because I see this on every call we do, the wheels just get turning with people of like, wow, what can we now do? And to Rob's point, I think the number one thing is a thank you email based on somebody purchasing in store. Think about how many more Google reviews, which would drive to Rob's point before on just that search component. We've had clients double, triple their Google reviews, not overnight, certainly, but increase it very vastly because now they can send an automated email for their in-store purchases, not just the online component for a thank you. So makes a huge difference to have everything linking up between online and store. All right, you can go to the next one, Rob. Thank you, sir. So
No
then
problem.
Klaviyo as a tool. So we'll really go through some of the key functions. And I always kind of bucket it into 3 to 5 things for Klaviyo. There's certainly, because it is so feature rich, there's a lot you can work with. But I'm a big 80-20 guy in that there's 20% of their features that are really going to drive 80% of your result. And you just, especially if you're first getting started, there's no reason to worry about the other 80%. So campaigns is going to be your very standard, what you're used to with like a Constant Contact or a MailChimp, the standard kind of big email providers. But what you can now do with it is leverage that point of sale data inside of the mass send. So won't beat a dead horse, but that ability to segment based on really anything you want. Our biggest go-to is based on the brand that somebody bought, the SKU level. If it's a bigger release, you could do. But if you want to send out for that new Hoka Clifton to everybody that bought Hoka in the past, you can now segment those people, use the Run Free product feed, send it out, and you're on with your day. But it's very, very contextual to the person seeing it. So I just kind of call it's that mass send on steroids. You just no longer have to send it to your whole list to where 50% of those people just may not be interested in it. And that actually a client brought up a good point yesterday on a specific brand where it's just, it's more niche to the consumer buying it. So why send it? It's a big shoe brand, but it's just more niche. Why send to your whole list when this brand's got a loyal following? It's just maybe not as big as some of the brands. So you just you don't, again, bug people in that way. And it's not relevant to them. So your unsubs, your lack of engagement from people just drives down and your open rates drive up, which is a whole nother topic of just good email deliverability, leading to more people seeing it, leading to more sales.
Amen.
Yeah, super big on that. The flows and automation, again, there's so many things you can do there. Our big 5, we call it at Omni, is a general welcome series. We're all used to the pop-up welcome series that we get on e-commerce sites. Now you just have the ability to bring it in store with, let's say somebody comes in and shops and it's their first time in, you could send them, because you can filter that. You can know when somebody shops, was it their first time in or was it their more than first time in? And you can customize that email that you send to the individual based on how many times they've been in before. Because with everybody, you could send in a thank you, but in that first email that somebody gets, maybe you want to ask them for a Google review. But if it's their second plus purchase, maybe you don't want to ask them for a Google review because maybe you already did, right? So you can customize the flows based on, again, any filter that you want. The biggest one we do within the welcome series is their number of times in. You then have the thank you email, which is different because it's simply thanking them for their purchase. The welcome series in store could just be welcoming them into your community, events you have going on, introducing them to your people, what have you, asking for a review. A win back, simple, asking them how their purchase is 60 days later to come back in 120 days later. We work with a lot of stores that have Birkenstock. There's care, accessories that can go with Birkenstock.
Yeah.
You could do accessories email if they only bought shoes, or if they only bought accessories, send a shoe email. You can customize it. And again, those wheels get turning for the possibilities of how you can customize that. And then really just the list and segments. And all of these are different screens that you would see inside the Klaviyo platform. Lists are more moments in time. So, like, for example, if you are currently, maybe you're switching to Klaviyo right now, you would upload your prior provider's list into Klaviyo, your unsubscribers, your openers, to do the warming, it's called, within an email platform, to get that engagement high early on, and then your total list. So those three would all be lists, where segments are more dynamic. Because let's just say, for example, and this is where Omni Lightning really comes in with the not having to do the manual nature, which could sometimes just save people a ton of time. Where, let's say, for example, you have 20,000 customers in your point of sale system, and today you had 30 new customers come in, and 20 of them gave you their email. Well, what do? You'd have to download those 20 new and upload it to a MailChimp or a Constant Contact or whoever you're using if there's no integration. Where with Omni Lightning, it just pulls everything in that's new, and everything is dynamically updated every 24 hours. So that's what makes the flows possible, is that it's updated, and it updates the segments based on what they bought, how much they bought, if they gave you an email, all that information. And been saying email a lot, but again, Klaviyo is an SMS tool as well. So, if people opt in store to receive texts, I always kind of use email and SMS within Omni Lightning and Klaviyo synonymously, because they can do the same exact thing. It's just a different medium. But if you want to send a text message based on thanking somebody, you can do that. Or everybody that bought Brooks that you have SMS compliance on, that you can send a text to, you can send them a text that if they've just bought Brooks in the past, the 345 people that are opted in, so that, again, you're not sending a text message to, if it's 2,000 and it's 345, you can just send to those 345 people. And texting is just, in general, total plug for it. With Klaviyo, it's amazing. I mean, it goes so much as I have clients ask me, should I capture email or SMS? My answer is always both. But if you have to pick one, I would really go down the SMS route, because it's so effective for driving both e-com and in-store sales. Very, very effective. All right, you can go to the next one, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, we do click on engage with texts more than emails, generally speaking, or at least more quickly.
Yeah, and a lot of you have phone numbers as the account number in your point of sale system, and it's really just about getting those people opted in compliantly, which is big. But you already have a lot of the data and the information. You just got to do it compliantly. But SMS, I mean, usually a click-through rate on an email is usually like 1% or 2%. That's kind of average. If it's 3 or above, it's really good. But on text, the average is probably 10 to 15%. So texting is very, very good. I think the data point is that 95% of texts are opened within 60 seconds. So, the open rate itself blows email out of the water. typically the SMS lists are going to be smaller than people have through email. So there's the dichotomy with that. But it's just I encourage people to just slowly build up your list within Klaviyo. And the beautiful thing is within Klaviyo they have profiles, as we're kind of looking here, kind of good segue into this next slide. And a profile is just as it just as it sounds. It's basically all of the point of sale contacts that you have. And if they're opted in for email and texting, but then it's all of their purchase history. And you can literally see it as like a rolling archive of, did they open this email? Did they click on this text? They bought here. It's just an activity feed of their Klaviyo activity, their run free activity, and then their point of sale in-store activity. And that's what we mean by like that full picture. In the profile section in Klaviyo, that Omni Lightning provides that full pro. That's when we do the integration, it just automatically uploads all of that data. You can go see any customer at any time, and it's a live feed of all of their activity in Klaviyo, run free, and point of sale. And it's very complete. It really blows people away because of the level of data that they can see, especially on that point of sale profile. You know, what category do you have it categorized that they bought? You know, what SKU, what brand, how much did they spend, what store ID? You know, did they buy it at this store, that store? That's something we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah.
You're able to segment. If you have 6 locations and you only want to text people because there's an event, maybe there's a vendor coming in to do a shoe experience and talk about the shoe. Well, you probably don't want to text everybody from the other 5 locations. Just text for that location or email for that location. Again, you can segment on any data point you have in the point of sale within Klaviyo with Omni Lightning connecting it. So just those are just some of the point of sales that we do integrate with. It's not everyone, but it's most of them that would be in run specialty. The profiles, again, very data rich. I'm trying to think of any big examples I haven't really thought of. The store ID is a big one.
Yeah.
The categories are a big one because it allows you to kind of, look at maybe people, bought shoes, but they've never bought any accessories. So maybe send them an email on that where you don't have to go through every single shoe or every single accessory that people have bought because it's categorized as that lump sum in the point of sale. You can filter it that way.
Yeah.
And then the Klaviyo dash. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but a side note for those of you who've watched our SEO stuff, you hear the beating of the drum of relevance constantly. You want to be sure that what you're delivering is relevant to that audience because the audience is going to engage with something that has meaning for them. And Kody, like you said, if you can, segment and profile and send folks info that is relevant to where they are in the buying process or, based on the segment profile or anything else, they're going to have that higher potential for engagement as opposed to getting everything from you and just starting to ignore you after the 3rd email that doesn't make sense for their situation.
And I think that's what, I was talking about this with a client the other day, is that D2C companies by their nature are online maybe only. And so that means that the advertising mediums they have to take are digital centric, where in the traditional sense, paper, radio, TV, even direct mail to a certain extent, you've never been able to segment like this. You can't, can you deliver a paper ad to these 345 people, right? You just can't do that. And technologies like Run Free and Klaviyo and Omni Lightning just power all that to just make it possible. And that's where one of my goals with just clients at Omni that I work with is I just want to challenge you to think differently about your business. That is my biggest passion. It's not data, it's not marketing. I just want to help you think differently. It maybe helps you grow your revenues, right? And one of the other things we haven't talked about too much yet, I don't think I've mentioned, is within Klaviyo, there's really 2 major aspects to the Omni Lightning software. There's all of the profiles, the segmentation, the data, the segmenting, all that side. But then once you send the email, once you send the text message, you can then see the performance. So when you send that email, it will track it for a certain period of time after they've opened or clicked with SMS. They can't just open it. They have to click the link that you have in it. So it's a little bit tougher to track, because we've had a lot of clients be like, hey, we had a lot more people come in for this, but the revenue is inaccurate. And I'm like, yeah, it's because they have to click on the link, and maybe they didn't click on the link in the text. They just saw the offer or whatever it was, the picture of the shoe that it was releasing, or what have you. But the biggest thing is inside your Klaviyo dashboard. And if you're on Klaviyo, that home screen, you can see just, the total revenue generated and then the revenue generated from Klaviyo. So it gives you that, again, complete picture, online, offline, SMS, email performance. You're never really going to, again, have to wonder, did this email work? Did this text message work? Because you're going to be able to see how many sales do we have online and how many sales do we have in store. And you can see what they bought. I mean, Klaviyo it's very data rich in that capacity. You can see what they bought, what time they bought, how long they bought after receiving the text or the email. It's any data nerds out there, you're gonna geek out over this. It's pretty cool, and it's all just in a feed that you can see. It's very easy. Again, going back to Klaviyo as a platform, it's very easy to navigate and see your performance and how many sales were created, and then just a variety of other metrics. They have the flow revenue, those automations, versus your campaign revenue that you generated. Those are probably like the biggest things really worth mentioning. Your email versus SMS revenue, of course. So again, very data centric on the ROI reporting. So you'll know your investment's paying off with really all three providers. And then really just that data segmentation with your in-store just opens up new possibilities. Awesome. You can go to the next slide, Rob.
Cool.
And then, I do have it on here. So this just gives you an example, de-identified, of just an existing client of ours, of just, the revenue and the automations and what was generated. You can see the flow revenue, the per recipient revenue, campaign, email, SMS. So it's a very, again, very data rich, and you can drill down really far within Klaviyo, about as far as you think you could go. You could drill down to. So yeah, for any bigger stores that have a dedicated email and texting person, that is their job, you're just going to be able to have that individual be so more efficient too. That's one thing I haven't really talked about. Because of Klaviyo's platform, you can be more efficient, therefore sending out more emails and texts because of the segmentation, and then make more money. So it's just a very, it's just a win-win-win all around because of segmentation. And on top of that, it's, oddly enough, people might even be wondering about like Klaviyo, like, oh my gosh, is this going to be like drastically more expensive than if you're not on Klaviyo than my provider, like just the email tool or texting tool you're using? Not really. It's pretty comparable, which is also really nice. It's just, they just have so many more features, and it's built really lean. I feel like the dashboard itself is very simple. There's like literally 5 different sections, I think 5 or 6. And so I think they built it pretty lean and given people exactly what they need to have success with their platform. So there's that too. Cool. Next slide, sir. So that's basically all that I got. So how can you use point of sale data to grow revenue through email and SMS? And that's just where I would encourage you, even after this, just to think about that. Think about the possibilities for your business. If you were able to segment based on anything you could think of and that we talked about today in your point of sale system, what would you want to segment by? How would you use that to grow your business? So that is all I got. Thank you.
Rock on. Yeah. Thank you, Kody. That's fantastic info, and, super duper helpful. I think so many folks are, trying to figure out what can I do to drive that engagement piece, and engagement, on that bottom half is really the name of the game coming up. I mean, that's the entire reason that we built our app platform, is to give you lots of different creative ways to engage the folks who, are part of your customer base or community, so on. It's interesting because one of the questions that inevitably comes up is, when do I stop rolling my own marketing and bring in the help of an agency? What does that look like, and what are the expectations? And I've used the analogy of renovating a kitchen, and you tell me if I'm close here. And that is the vision of what you want is always going to come from you, the brand. And, I've joked with folks, deputize somebody as the chief storyteller so that you have continuity across all your different channels from a marketing perspective, and you'll find that you have more success. But in the end, the vision is always the brand. So when I want my kitchen renovated, I'm the one that has the idea in my head of what I want. And then getting the work done can be a mix of stuff that you do yourself or stuff that you bring in contractors or subcontractors for, depending on your appetite for doing that work and your given expertise. So me, I'm not a plumber. I can do most of the woodworking stuff, but nobody wants me anywhere near water. And, if in this analogy, maybe I, do everything but the automation piece, the marketing agency is the same as the subcontractor in the kitchen renovation situation. Ultimately, you've got a skilled tactician with the right tools and the right knowledge to understand how to apply all that stuff based on the vision that you provide, i.e., the idea of the kitchen that you want to end up with. Is that a reasonable analogy?
Yeah, no, that's good. And I mean, I think too, as a marketing agency, again, the thing that I love more than anything since I founded Omni in 2017 is really just, again, giving people the possibilities using data in their business. I'm really passionate about marketing, but I'm more passionate about data, because data used right is why, they're obviously like the black sheep of the family is Amazon. Right? That's the reason that they are so effective, is because they use data probably better than anybody on the planet. And as a small business, you have to have solutions to fight back against that. And these are just a couple of them amongst many that we talked about today. But Omni Lightning as a tool, that's exactly what it is. It's a pipeline. It's a tool to help you leverage your data better than maybe you are right now. And as if you would just view that as an advancing of your business and slowly bringing on technology over time, if you're looking at Klaviyo as a tool, we can certainly be there in any capacity you need. We are platinum partners with Klaviyo, which is their highest level. And basically have just clients that we work with. So we're extremely knowledgeable on Klaviyo as a solution. So even if you never hire us as a formal agency for your business, we are more than happy to help you look at Klaviyo as a solution, how we're using it with clients, and even just on a technology basis, just using Omni Lightning as a pipeline. I was telling a couple new clients yesterday, we're now on your team. You can ask us, and they're managing Klaviyo by themselves internally because they have dedicated people for it. But they are super interested in all of the knowledge that we have over the last 4 years of using Klaviyo as a tool. And then obviously there is that full service side. But if you have a team and you have stuff in place, just use the technology or just use us for advice. So I know Klaviyo, anybody on this call that has it, that isn't maximizing it, Omni Lightning can help. But anybody that is thinking about just switching to Klaviyo, it's kind of on the fence, we can just be there, email me, and I can just give you answer any questions you have if you're switching from another provider to Klaviyo. Even if you never hire us, more than happy to help you make a good decision for your business. And I am very bullish on Klaviyo, but maybe you have some really nitty gritty questions that I can help you with that maybe just makes the transition. Maybe you're like, nah, we don't want to switch then, and thanks for that, or we do because of that. So here to help in any capacity you need, for sure.
That is fantastic. And we take a very similar focus, here to provide air support however you need it. We did have one question come in while we were talking. So if somebody opts in for text messaging, are you constrained to sending them text messages from your individual company, or can you email them information about multiple businesses if you're the owner? This might be blending two industries. So let's say you have a, run specialty store and a bar or a restaurant, something like that. What does GDPR think about that? Do you know?
I would think it would be limited to the business that they opt in for, because typically that's what the consumer thinks. Obviously, if they're inside of that business opting in, I'd have to, yeah, maybe know the exact use case. I mean, if it's literally that, where it's, let's say they have a bar and a run specialty store, um, I don't think that wouldn't be in compliance of that. You'd have to get them to opt in on the other side as well. But what you could do is you could text them inside that text message and say, hey, we also have, we have this business over here. Text the word, you know, I'll just make up one that's pretty generic, join to this number, and we'll send you a text message if you want in regards to this business. If I was a retail owner having two entirely different businesses, that's how I would handle it. Just, because the other thing too is, could you text them? Yes,
Right,
you
right.
could. But you want to do it compliantly. Otherwise, you're going to have either negative reputation on that other side, or people are just going to unsubscribe from the one that you're texting them on because they thought it was going to be for shoes and now it's for a bar. So I would just want to do it right so I don't negatively impact the one that they wanted to receive if they don't want to receive the other one and unsubscribe altogether. So that's probably the way I'd handle it, is just shoot them a text, because that's compliant if you
Yeah.
ask them inside the one they're already opted in for, and just see if they want to opt in for the other one.
Beautiful. And I mean, I think taking it from a slightly different angle, if you're running some kind of a crossover um, deal, like come buy a pair of shoes and join us for Wednesday night runs at our bar.
Yeah. Ooh.
And here's 10% off, something like that, where you blend them together very well, as long as they're opting in with the running store. That's totally legit as
Yep.
far as I know.
Yeah. No, that's a terrific idea. I mean, and I would imagine that the individual that asked that is probably like, I guess I could probably see, is that they probably do that, because of the run nights and fun runs and stuff like that. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Awesome. Great question. Thanks, Dave. Um,
Dave, Dave. Oh, I know who it is. I thought about it, man. Yeah, Dave. That's a good question. It's a good question.
awesome. Okay. Well, I think that covers us on Q&A, and we are getting to 10 minutes until the hour. And I always try to give folks time back because I tend to take more time than is necessary to say things. So thank you for joining us again today, Kody. Thank all of you for joining us and listening. Super stoked about the availability that comes from this, and your willingness to work with folks in the run specialty spirit, as we like to say. So if you've got any questions, hello@runfreeproject.com, hit our website, runfreeproject.com, or Kody, where do they go for Omni Digital?
Yeah, you can just contact me at Kody, Kody, at omnidigitalgroup.com. And I'm sure that if you have a sales executive that has reached out to you, if you want to work through them too, that's perfectly fine. But I definitely am extremely well versed in Klaviyo. So if you just have like general Klaviyo questions, you can definitely email me at again, Kody, Kody, at omnidigitalgroup.com.
Outstanding. Thanks again, everybody. Appreciate you for joining us, and we will catch you on the flip.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
I don't even know if that's a saying anymore. Bye.